And all ready to go. Apparently my webcam is really off center. That's kind of silly of me. But we are here, FourCourtJester and Sham2, and you are back to the Nexus because once more, Sham2, at that time, the road to BlizzCon qualifiers have begun.
That's right. It's the July Open starting today and tomorrow to go through up until the round of 8. And then next weekend is going to be the round of 8. So we've got a great set of games coming out for all of you today.
All right, so up first, we were going to do Team Wombo up against Kefka Crew, but unfortunately, we couldn't field a team from Kefka Crew. So we're going to bounce over to Ascent versus the Great White North, and these are all going to be best of 3 days. Just to give you a little bit of a clear understanding, we're doing heats, best of 3s, all single elimination, and there's even prize money involved, Mr. Sham2. What are people going to be looking for at the end of this tournament?
They're going to be looking to get at least to first place, of course, which is going to be $10,000 prize pool, I think, in the round of 8. If I remember correctly.
I got 8,500 for first, 4K
Yes.
for second. So this is
more than
20.
that, actually. I take that back. Yeah,
I think this is a $20,000 tournament. So it's going to be looking pretty cool. And yeah, as I said, we're going to be looking for a lot of that prize money to be coming in. There we go. Back to the casters. The draft is ready to go, and we're going to be jumping in here to Ascent versus Great White North. And it looks like Ascent is up first, sir.
That they are. And Jester, you have a little bit of familiarity with the people who are on Ascent. Am I wrong?
It's a small world after all. I'll tell you that. There are so many people here from some of my previous games in my casting history. I am going to fanboy a little over Emperor. That's what I'm going to be looking at to see what he can do, because he and I have a little bit of a history. It's good to see him here in Heroes of the Storm, though.
All right, so let's get on into the draft. Take a quick look at what's going on here. We've got the first pick, first ban coming out here from Ascent. They ban out Malfurion. They don't want to deal with that Storm Rage coming on into game number 1 here today. And we're going to have a reply ban of course, Zeratul. Nobody wants to deal with that Cloaking Terror.
Yes, if it's a very common second ban. If you don't get the first pick, you have to almost always, at least here in NA, ban out the Zeratul. First pick is going to be Jaina here from Great White North, and maybe taking a little bit of a cue from Tuark. Uther is going to be the first round pick for Great White North.
Yes, and they're going to follow that up also with a Kael'thas. Uther is so incredibly good in this latest patch just because of the Divine Shield plus Cleanse and everything else. And with a little bit of a change to all the other healers, he's now a little bit on par and does pretty good job of keeping everybody alive for a good amount of time.
All right, so Rhaegar and Johanna. It's going to be the follow-up here from Ascent. So now into the second ban phase as we do go back and forth with 4 bans now. Some people saying it's a little much, but I think it's actually worked out quite well. A lot of teams have adapted very nicely for the counter pick here at this second part. What would you expect to see in these ban phases?
Well, we already see that there's a ranged, a support, and a warrior coming out here from Ascent, so probably taking out a couple of those damage options for Ascent is going to be what Great White North wants to do, and they ban out Sylvanas, which is, of course, a great set of damage, as well as the pushing potential. So they do take out a little bit of Ascent's possibility of going into a really ranged, heavy composition. And Ascent says, they've got an Uther, we've got to take out the Queen of Blades, and that's exactly what they take out as well.
Yeah, so the lack of a Kerrigan here for Great White North isn't exactly going to be a setback. Kael'thas, was merely a setback, but Kerrigan here likely not, because we still have Tyrande and the Butcher left on the table. This is a 2-pick phase. We already got Uther there, and that could lead us into a last-pick Warrior for Great White North. That is if they want to run a melee. It's likely not going to be an Illidan, and it's just something like we see it more in NA than we do in any of the other regions. Like, I haven't really seen Butcher in Europe kind of picked up yet. I don't think I've seen an SCA broadcast on the new patch. So at that point, it's something that we do see run here a little bit.
What's actually really interesting is that if they take out the Sylvanas, which they did in their bans for Great White North, the only big drawback to Uther is as soon as you're targeting somebody down, Sylvanas on the other team would throw a Wailing Arrow on top of Uther and deny him the ability to use his Divine Shield to keep that person alive. So they take out Sylvanas, so Uther will have probably no trouble getting that Divine Shield down on whoever needs to survive. And that's actually a really cool little counter pick in the pick ban phase that you have to realize when you're looking at why they're banning out Sylvanas instead of somebody like Vala or somebody else. Not only her pushing potential, but also in those team fights. So Great White North, they've got to pick up I mean, they could go for the Tyrande right here and still maybe leave a little bit to the imagination, but Ascent can't really pick up Butcher either, so I think Tyrande would probably be their best pickup if they're going to go for that. But they could honestly just go for a little bit more just range damage if they want to, or a second warrior, since they've got that Kael'thas.
I think Ascent could absolutely still go for it. They have the Jaina Johanna. Now, that actually sets up very nice for Asmodan, who has snuck past these bans. But there's still a two-phase pick for Ascent. They could easily pick up the Tyrande Butcher. But, you know, we talk a lot about that because you almost always see the Butcher with the Tyrande. And if it's not going to be the Tyrande, you typically don't see the Butcher. So, you know, with these two block phases still left and both of them on the table is just something that keeps into the back of my mind. Now with the Mirrodin there, it is going to be a Vala to follow that up. As you said, you know, with the Sylvanas being banned out, some of the damage dealers are gone. You know, nobody's actually touched the Falstead yet. It's a big map. The big mobility of his fly does come in very handy.
Yeah, and Falstead's actually really great at 1v1s as well. He's a really good caster killer. You normally see Falsteads actually a little bit in a somewhat flanking position, going for those little hits in the back line to really take them out. A Tassadar getting picked up here by Ascent. You know, Tassadar, he's really low in the win rates right now in terms of solo queue and, you know, just general queues in general words. But he's actually a really great pickup competitively because you can use the information from his Oracle as well as his shields and his Archon very, very well with the team fight. And if there's any type of engagement coming in there from Great White North, an Archon popping up in the middle of a shrine is going to be a huge hassle.
Are they actually going to be setting up for a Butcher or an Illidan? There's a big potential here. They have the Dream Team comp to keep up Illidan. They just got to be very wary of the Mirrodin stuns, the Uther stuns, the counters there. Divine Storm, of course, is a big counter there as well. It just seems like Ascent has set themselves up very well for this. Like, it's a last pick, anything kind of goes. Zagara, Falstead, Illidan, Butcher, like anything here could actually really fit into this comp.
That's true. That's why I think Ascent kind of went with this composition so far. It's just kind of like a bread and butter kind of composition. There's not really too much that really is exciting just yet. We might see something crazy. Ascent is taking a good amount of time to really think about their last pick. They could go for a little bit more range if they want to. Tassadar's range damage is okay, but he's probably going to be picking up Mule at 7. So they're going to go for a little bit more range, which I was kind of expecting, which is Falstad. And you brought this up before. He's great on this map. He can fly back and forth, as well as the fact that he can also just 1v1 those mages in the back line. They can take out Kael'thas when he's got those gathering power stacks. Going to be perfect. Great White North, what are you thinking?
Well, they have the Kael'thas, they have the Vala. So the Kael for the big burst, the zone control Vala on this might be better off with the Strafe rather than the Rain of Vengeance. There's not really a lot to kind of stop Vala. It's going to be the big it's going to be the big Johanna Condemn. As long as you can stay out of it, the Strafe should pay off in dividends. But they definitely need another damage. I can't really see them actually going into a melee with only the Uther. So Zagara is going to be coming to mind here. If they want to kind of throw a twist, we've been seeing more and more Sonya these days.
Ooh, I think Sonya would be a great pickup with their Uther. That could get really easily into the back line. They're going to go for Tychus, interestingly enough.
The man with no cigar.
Well, it's
close, but no cigar. Tychus coming into this is a very interesting pickup. Now, I'm curious to see if he's going for Odin or Laser. Laser we normally see against melee assassin compositions, but Odin I can imagine just because of the long range, probably against this composition is probably a little bit better. And his auto attack just got recently buffed where his range is now going to actually be on par with every other assassin. So he's gotten a little bit of a buff in the last patch. I'm curious to see how he's going to play here.
Well, the big thing is Johanna can actually still interrupt. She has the daze, but she also has the stun on that condemn, and that's something that Tychus has to be very wary of. I mean, both of these range, the Tychus and the Vala, even the Kael'thas to some regard, like when unstoppable Johanna just jumps in to the fray, she has her movement speed, you can't stun her, and she gets that condemn ready to go. That's going to be a big opportunity for Jaina and the Blizzards, for Falstead and the Hinterland's Blast. That's big AoE damage right there, ready to go. So that is something to kind of very much keep in mind. If Vala gets caught while strafing, it's out. If Tychus gets caught in overkill, it's out. Kael'thas likely not to get pyroed, but if he was channeling it, it's out. Like, it's a nice engage from Ascent. They're going to be able to keep that Johanna up with the Ancestral, with those shields. I mean, we got an Archon in the back there as well. But Great White North, if they can play around that, I mean, Tychus is one of the best chasers because of that overkill. And Vala at the same time with Q builds these days is going to be able to duel out if Falstead is actually going to be looking to get into that backline for those duels on Kildas.
Overall, I think I like both these compositions. The Tychus pick is, I think, just still the only one that really stands out to me, just because Tychus, we haven't really seen him too much. But overall, I feel like both these teams actually have pretty normal compositions. I remember last time we casted the June Opens, where we had these really weird team compositions in the first round. These two team compositions are actually pretty competitive in standard form. So I'm actually pretty excited for this game.
Well, these guys, they kind of know what they're doing. Great White North is not new to this scene. They've been a team that has been in the amateur circuits for, wow, just almost months now. Ever since Team Heroes Hype has really kind of come into it, we've seen a big rise in the amateur talent pool, a lot of the amateur skill level. I mean, if several of those teams have now actually joined the ESL Majors, which actually just debuted their Season 3 this week. So Kappa Wolves is up there. Great White North is up there. I'm pretty sure they're actually up there. There's a whole bunch of them that have now joined and made that 12-team bracket. So they know exactly what's up. And Ascent, as I said, a little bit, we have some history here. They've apparently been watching a lot of casting. They absolutely adore the work that we did last qualifier, which is maybe probably the reason that they're here. Yeah. But
Yep.
These guys are not new to MOBAs. As a nice competitive draft, it warms the heart to see this rising talent. Who knows how far these teams are going to go?
It's really interesting. If they've picked up this game very recently, I'd have to say their drafting is definitely on point. They go for the Jaina first, which is a pretty easy thing to observe. But then looking at the Rhaegar and then the Kerrigan ban after seeing something like the Uther pickup, that's actually pretty impressive to be able to go into that type of drafting if this is pretty new to them. The only thing that I think stands out, of course, is the Malfurion first ban. But to force your opponents into going for an Uther in the very beginning is actually a really interesting tactic, because that means that there's too many things for Uther to heal, because Uther's only good at spot healing. So it looks like the game is now loading up. Are you ready to go, Jester? Because this is game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait to see the first steps here to the road to BlizzCon, July 2015. Sham2, it's always a pleasure to have you here on stream, sir. And it's we're very happy and honored to be invited back to be part of the casting crew this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. When they were just like, hey, do you want to cast? I was like, of course I want to come cast.
What kind of question is that?
Oh, man, this is all I do. I go to work, I come home, I cast, or I make YouTube content. Either or. Once
upon a time, I was asked, "Hey, if you could get to China, would you cast for us?" I'm like, is that a question? Like, of course I would go to China to cast for you. I mean, it was one of my previous games at the time, but those kind of questions, they're humbling, but they're silly at the same time.
All right, guys, so we've gotten on into game number 1 here of Ascent versus Great White Wolves. Tell us who we have here on the blue.
It is going to be Team Ascent here on the left-hand side. Subs, Emperor, Zevil, Mr. Tobacco. I was going to say, if he's playing the Tychus, then that is a misnomer. And Parakletos is going to be on that Falstad. As you see, he's going to be flying to the eye. Fly to the eye, don't die for the eye. That is the mantra.
Over here on the right-hand side, we've got Great White North. We've got No Sir. Hold on here. We've got Escaping Jail, Fozen, No Sir, Insane, and Sky. Insane, of course, spelled like innkeeper, I guess?
Like an insane person.
Yes, possibly. Or like a hotel, like an inn, a bed and breakfast, as it were. Well, he's going to be down in the bottom, playing a little bit of the more pushing potential of Vala here.
Yeah, if I had to put one of their DPS in that off lane, Vala definitely has a little bit of a better chance. She is going to go multi-shot at least early on with the composite arrows. We do have the armor-piercing rounds for Tychus, for those of you that haven't seen him in a while. So that's going to give him a little bit of extra range on that Q. The wet noodle fight there in the mid, likely not much to happen there. But it will be the Falstad and the Vala, and again, they're going to be using the passive usefulness of that fly from Falstad just to keep him down here. But Emperor is sticking around. Looks like they want to put the hurt in his bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is going to be a pretty good way to just start pushing a little bit of that advantage. If you have the 2v1, of course, you can do a good amount of damage. It looks like they're actually going to try and take out the tower as soon as possible. Looks like they were maybe going for the little level of advantage going on into the Shrine fight, but it just didn't quite happen. So both these teams going on into the temples activating. Not a real advantage either way.
All right, a little bit of an ambush was set up there from Great White North into the top. They're looking to see if Zevel would poke his head into it, but it's not to be. Escaping Joe and Fozen, Noster there just for that interference, and everybody else is just still in those lanes. So into the bottom, Insane, he's still going to be there with that Falstead. Of course, Falstead at the moment's notice could fly up to a team fight, but everybody is content just to trade them out 1 for 1. And this will give us a little bit of time to look at some of the talent choices as level 4 is about to come into it.
That's right. So I'm curious to see what the Assassin is going to be doing. He picked up Overload at level 1. I'm curious to see if we're going to be seeing a very Psystorm-focused Tassadar. He's also picking up Healing Ward at level 4, which is a little bit of a lesser-picked talent given recent couple of changes to that talent. However, still perfectly fine. It's going to give him a little bit more healing. And so far, we'll just have to keep an eye on that Tassadar if he's going to go for a little bit more damage-centric build.
Eye on that Tassadar. Sounds like a news program here in the Protosphere. But yeah, it's as you said, the Healing Ward, those changes, it's not something you see a lot of. In fact, the whole like Overload plus the Healing Ward feels like almost just a meta or two ago, back when that was kind of popular. But it's more popular on like the channeling maps. I don't really see it a lot here. But bottom lane, Insane. He's actually gonna look. Oh, look at that prediction with the Blizzard. Zevel on point. That's going to be finally our first blood.
Yes, and that's also going to be nobody in the bot lane soaking. So this is going to be a potentially huge amount of experience going on over only to our friends here at Ascent. Instead, so that's going to be, looks like it's going to be an entire level's worth of experience. Look at this already.
Yeah, there's absolutely nobody to rotate down. They were actually getting those bruisers up into the top. Now they're going to be delaying on that pickup. They're going to be waiting for this next temple spawn, but there goes those towers. Now, a team that puts a lot of emphasis into the bottom towers tells me that they don't really care too much about the first temple spawns. They're very much going to be looking to get that advantage, which they now have, and absolutely obliterate this bottom, because this will be an entire fort worth now that both towers are out.
Right, and they're also picking up these Siege Giants as well. They can potentially not only just get this fort, but do a good amount of damage on the ones in the mid lane as well. Look at that. They picked up the mid shrine or mid temple before, so now that those towers in mid are gone, that's just a lone mid fort. They could potentially get a 2-for-1 out of this next temple fight if they actually win it.
Well, we're going to have to keep an eye. There it is. The temple is spawning. We are keeping these Stone Bros into the bottom fairly healthy, although there comes that overkill. Between the overkill, Kel'Thas, and multi-shot build, yeah, they did not really stand a chance. But now is the time to fight. Everybody is coming down. Reminds me of Brawl from Hearthstone. Everybody's going to get in here.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to see who's going to be able to actually take a couple of the first hits, start turning this fight one way or the other. Now, there is a slight level advantage, but no talent advantage coming out here from Ascent. Great White North does have a little bit to go against. They actually get backed up from the temple, and Ascent is going to be able to claim a little bit of the temple's shots right now.
And you also see Zevel. He's going to be rotating here into mid. It looks like he's actually going to hit Chase Insane is now going to be showing up. Escaping Gel. This could be it for the Ice Queen, but with that soak, they are going to be looking to solidify a lead with that level 10 coming out. So if there's any kind of big drawn-out fight down here, the level 10 threat should be enough to push back Great White North. And there goes fort number 1. That's going to be the tower there as well, if Paracletos can come in there as well. And as you said, that might be a 2-for-1 in this entire phase right here.
Well, I don't think those last 5 shots are going to be able to take out that fort, but it is going to really, really hurt them. And oh, in the mid, we're going to have 2 kills now going on over here to Ascent as Tychus falls here. Looks like he was trying to just move away from the encroaching Ascent, but unfortunately not going to help. Actually, a huge amount of heroics going to go down, and Vala's going to fall as well.
So, I mean, it might not have been the temples that got the 2-for-1, but with that kill on top of Tychus, it did give us the pressure. It also gave us the heroics. And you saw Blessed Shield go out immediately, the Hinterland Blast to follow up, and that is going to be that second fort, albeit a little bit delayed as to what we were looking at. But nice timing. You should not be anywhere near the opponents if they are about to hit that level 10. I think that was kind of a big surprise factor from Ascent right there. White North still shouldn't be able to even put up a defense into this top lane.
Yeah, there's only 2 people here to defend this top lane. They need to start rotating a couple more of their team up here, but they don't have heroics just yet. It's so close. They've got the Uther pushing in the bot lane, but without their support, they have to be really careful about going on into a huge team fight. There is still an Ancestral around, so they can't really make sure that they're going to be able to get anybody, but they are going to try and focus down Zevel. That's going to be successful given the fact that the Rhaegar was pretty far away there. And so that's going to give them their first blood of the game. And this could potentially turn this around.
It wasn't a 5-on-4 into the top that I was expecting. Emperor was mid, but he actually went bottom in order to delay out the push there from Noser. So it was no tank versus no healer, and as you can see, the no healer kind of actually won out of that one. There is something to be said again by that Tychus with that overkill. He has the Odin, as you were talking about a little bit earlier, and there's the strafe as well. That is some big AoE amounts of damage. And Tychus one of the best chasers in the game because he will be probably going into the slow at level 13 for that overkill, and good luck getting away from that one.
You know, you're speaking about level 13, but look at this 12.5 here for Ascent. They're going to easily be able to pick up this top shrine, and that would be able to take out that top fort. But actually, ooh, looks like we're going to have yet another team fight here, Jester.
Mr. Tobacco is going to find Sky on that point. Fozen is hidden. Could he actually look for Parakletos? No, well, he will actually be found by Parakletos instead. What does the Falstead have at level 7? It's actually Battle Momentum. I haven't seen that talent on a Falstead in a while.
Yeah, that's a very interesting pickup here. We can see a couple different build changes at level 7, though, for Falstad. So going for that, you know, I'm not really too upset with it. Didn't pick up the increased barrel roll range at level 1, though, which is a little bit different from most Falstads. But, of course, Falstad is a very, very versatile build hero. Huge Condemn coming on in here on Great White North. There is a couple of heroics going down here. There's a Water Elemental going in there on Noser. Sky taking heavy hits. He's going to get taken out, though. There's Insane with a pretty big strafe hitting 4 different people, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough here. Zevel is chasing down Escaping Jail, but I don't think it's going to be enough. There's an Ancestral to keep Zevel back up. And now Fozen taking so much damage. He's going to fall as well. 4 people have fallen here. Jester, it's going to be really hard for them to hold off this keep pressure.
Talent tier advantage going the way of Ascent, and they really did get a prime opportunity there. They didn't actually hit with the Hinterlands Blast. That was a big, giant miss, but they recomposed themselves, and they were able to chase back and push back Great White North. Now, we talk a lot about, Tychus chasing you down with that overkill, but at the same time, once he's in Odin, he does not exactly retreat in a very swift form or manner. So that's with a 4-man pick up 7 kills to 1. That's going to be boss. And remember, there's temples on the field here, Shamtooth. So they not only capitalize on towers and a boss, now they're going to get the rest of these temple shots.
Yeah, these temples are going to do a lot of damage. They're already starting to do some pretty good damage to the keep gate, and now straight on into the keep's main structures. And this allows, look at this, we have the Falstad in the bot lane who can easily just pick up the rest of these bullets and then fly north. So this is very smart positioning, using the advantage of that Falstad. And Great White North, they're just trying to defend this boss, but they're going to lose yet another temple to this as well.
So Johanna going a little bit more damagey with the Burning Rage. They do not fear the Kael'thas. In fact, we don't have any spell shields there for Ascent. But Thunderstrike's going to be coming out for our mage. Yeah, it's pretty much just a mage Falstead at this point. I mean, there's no secret weapon here, no giant killers. The power throw is good with the Thunderstrikes. Oh, good cleanup. Oh, can Insane actually drop onto this as well?
Oh my gosh, the Hinterland's just going to be able to get the little bit of extra burst damage there. Fozen has to use his dash to get out of there, but oh my, they lost 2 people already.
And the healing ward going down to sustain that. I mean, they got Mercs now pushing top. All the temples are down. This is a 16-13. This is the sweet spot, and it's looking good for Ascent into this late game as they're up 9 kills, 1. Still have that talent tier advantage. Level 16 is going to be here. Overdrive, not really too much of a surprise there, but there's the second strike that you're looking for as well on the task deck.
Oh yes, and so he's going completely Size Storm focused. And that's actually a pretty good build on this map just because of all those shrine fights and etc. And look at just how much damage he's able to lay waste to in the backline. He's doing about 10,000 hero damage. Pretty much, he's actually out-damaged the Falstad so far. So this is not really a support Tassadar at all. He's not going for shields, not going for utility. He's just going for straight damage, and then the Shrink Ray and Healing Ward just to kind of help out his other sides.
Yeah, the Shrink Ray will go great for, kind of putting down the hurt on top of Sky, on top of Fozen. Fozen, speaking of, he's going to actually just run and gun, try to get out of that one. You are going to have to use that Dwarf Toss as well. Sky is going to be out, and big fly from Parakletos. So far, in terms of the siege damage, it's a massive difference between the amount of forts and keeps left on the table, isn't there?
Oh my gosh, there's still 5 forts up for Ascent. Only 3 forts up here for Great White North, but unfortunately, you know, with this next set of temples coming up, I think they're going to lose a keep.
It's very likely at this point. There's no towers on any lane already. You see some damage on some of these towers, some of these keeps. Anyways, this is a 2-temple phase. Even if we traded out 1 for 1, like Great White North would be absolutely ecstatic to trade it out 1 for 1, but I'm not entirely too sure Ascent will let them.
Yeah, I don't know if, you know, as soon as that shrine gets, the temple gets taken over here for Great White North, yeah, immediately Ascent has moved on up here. It looks like there is going to be a fight. Emperor now on in the front line. There's a huge condemn, and the hinterlands is good.
Oh, the numbing blast.
Damage. Oh, escaping jail. Gonna go down as well.
I mean, we talked about the Falsta doing the flanking, but that was a Jaina flank, tried and true. The numbing blast and water mantle, the blizzard into the back. It's a 4-man wipe. We don't need no towers. It's just going to let these keeps burn. Could this actually be burning out the keep as well, Shamsu?
Yeah, this is going to be possibly going... No, they're not. I don't think it's enough time for them, but it looks like they're going to pick up 2 keeps here, yeah. I was curious if they're going to go for core. They were like, they ran right on in there, and they were starting to move around the keep, but I'm glad that they didn't, because already we can see that so many members of Great White North are going to be able to come back up here. Fozen playing very good defense, but unfortunately not enough against the 5-person might here for Ascent.
And we still don't even have level 16 for Great White North either, so they're still struggling for this defense. And you know, as I said, if we could have traded out 1 for 1, Great White North would have been absolutely happy about that one. But now it's 2 sets of temples firing away on the last bastion of defense of that keep into the top lane. Level 19 to 16. Finally, we're on that talent tier level, but it's not going to be lasting very long.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that much here. 19 to 16, 19, almost 20 here for Ascent. They are playing this game so incredibly well, and now there's a whole bunch of core damage as well. The last 5 shots of both these temples going to go in there on the core, and that's going to take it down quite a bit here, Jester.
Just fly in, Falstead. Fly in and give it mercy. Emperor is just going to ride in on the cavalry on that great wolf. 18%, 17%, and it is just going to be the Emperor win at the end of it. The great hinterlands of 2015, the end of it. But ridiculously well played out of Ascent. They basically were in control from minute 1 of this fight.
Yeah, they were doing so incredibly well in the beginning of the game. It went a little bit back and forth. Remember, there was that huge victory at the top fort there for Great White North, but unfortunately Ascent was able to turn that all back around into their favor, and they were able to take the whole entire game just very convincingly. So let's see what happens in game number 2, because game number 1, Ascent seeming very strong.
Well, nicely played game. You said, you know, you really liked their draft. You said that at this point, not really teams that we get to see a lot of in the pro scenes, but they're drafting on point. Ascent's gameplay was absolutely flawless. And it's kind of interesting to see, because Great White North is definitely the heavy favorite coming into this, but Ascent made that look really easy.
Yeah, and they could very well make their Ascent up the bracket if they keep playing like this.
Wow, 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 wow.
It's okay. Maybe Great White North can go north in the bracket as well. But
on that note, we're going to take a quick break and set up game number 2. The pun master himself will return in all of his hopefully non-blurry. What did your cam just do to you?
I don't know. Did it just go blurry?
It's good. Don't worry. Even your cam can't handle the puns sometimes. It just
I think my cam just gave up. It lost focus.
It was done. It was done. Game number 2 of Ascent and Great White North coming your way here in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. We'll see you soon, and don't go anywhere.